For anyone out there building something new, there's always that one question that just keeps you up at night, right? Did I create something that people just kind of like, or is it something they truly need? Well, today, we're going to figure out how to answer that question using actual data, not just our gut feelings. Let's dive in. So this is it. This is really the single most important question you can ask. It just cuts through all the noise, all those vanity metrics we sometimes get obsessed with. The answer to this question is the first and maybe the most powerful signal of whether you've actually built a must-have product. And there's an industry term for this whole must-have quality. It's called product market fit, or PMF. It's this, almost magical moment when you realize you've built something that a specific group of people genuinely needs. It really is the ultimate goal for any creator. But how do we actually measure something that sounds so, subjective? That's exactly what we're here to do. We're going to run a little product health checkup. Think of it like a diagnostic journey where we'll use data like a stethoscope to listen for the vital signs of a healthy, thriving product. We're going to start by checking the basic vital signs, like is anyone even showing up? Then we'll listen to how your customers actually feel, check the financial health, and finally bring it all together for a really clear diagnosis. So let's begin the examination. Okay, first things first, we need to check the pulse. And put simply, are people actively using your product? This is the most fundamental level of engagement. After all, you can't have a healthy product if nobody's even showing up to the clinic, right? And we do this by looking at a few key engagement metrics, things like daily and monthly active users, you'll hear that called DAU and MAU, which tell you how many people are coming back on a regular basis. We can also look at how long they're staying and which features they're using the most. But honestly, the undisputed king of all these metrics is retention. Which brings us to the retention rate. This is a super crucial number that tells you if people are actually sticking around for the long haul. Look, getting a flood of new users is exciting, for sure. But if they all leave after a week, you just have a very leaky bucket. High retention, that's the sign of a product with real staying power. All right, so we've established that people are showing up. That's great. But how do they actually feel about the whole experience? Now we've got to move from just observing their behavior to listening directly to what they have to say. This is where we uncover the why behind the what. A really powerful tool for this is the Net Promoter Score, or NPS. It's a pretty standard way to measure customer loyalty. Based on their answer to one simple question, it sorts your users into promoters who love you, detractors who don't, and passives who are just kind of neutral. It's a single number that packs a ton of meaning. And it all boils down to this one simple question. The answer reveals so much about your product's real value. Are people just using it because they have to? Or do they genuinely love it enough to put their own reputation on the line by recommending it to somebody else? That is a huge difference. And of course, NPS isn't the only way to listen. You can also use stuff like CSAT, the Customer Satisfaction Score, to measure happiness with specific things. The real key, though, is to look for qualitative themes. Are people repeatedly asking for the same feature or complaining about the same bug? Those are powerful signals you just can't ignore. So, people are using the product and they seem to like it. That's fantastic. But there's a third absolutely critical piece to this puzzle. Can the business actually survive? Now we need to look at the financial engine under the hood to see if this is a sustainable business, not just a popular hobby. So if retention is all about keeping water in the bucket, then churn rate is the measure of how fast that bucket is leaking. This number, this is your enemy. A high churn rate can silently kill a business from the inside, even one that looks like it's growing on the surface. This scale right here perfectly illustrates the core financial tension of any business. On one side, you have customer lifetime value, or CLV, basically how much a customer is worth to you over time. On the other side, you've got customer acquisition cost, or CAC, how much it costs you to get that customer in the first place. For a healthy business, the left side needs to be much, much heavier than the right. All right, we've checked the vitals, we've listened to the patient, and we've analyzed the financials. It is time to bring all of our data together. This is the moment of truth, where we make our final diagnosis. Have we achieved product market fit? And here's the crucial point. Achieving product market fit isn't just some vague feeling, it's a measurable state. By looking at countless successful companies, experts have identified 4 specific signals, 4 key thresholds that tell you when you've truly arrived. Signal number 1, your Net Promoter Score is above 50. A score this high means you have way more passionate promoters than you have detractors. Your users aren't just satisfied, they are out there actively evangelizing for you. Next up, signal number 2, your long-term retention rate is over 40%. This means a strong, stable core of your users consistently finds value in what you're doing and they keep coming back. To put it simply, your bucket is no longer leaking. Signal number 3. Well, this brings us right back to that all-important question from the very beginning. If more than 40% of your users say they would be very disappointed if your product just vanished tomorrow, you've done it. You have created something truly essential. You are a must-have. And the final signal of a healthy business, your customer lifetime value is at least 3 times your customer acquisition cost. This is proof that your financial model actually works. For every dollar you spend getting a customer, you're getting at least $3 back in value. That is the definition of a sustainable business. So what do you do with this diagnosis? You use it as a map for what comes next. First, figure out your current status based on those 4 signals. Then, you use the data to pinpoint your weakest areas and define some concrete steps for how to improve. It's a continuous cycle of measure, learn, and act. Because in the end, these aren't just numbers on a dashboard. They are characters in a story, the story of your product and its relationship with your customers. So the real question to leave you with is this: what story is your data telling you right now? And what are you going to do to write the next chapter?